I've never been the type to believe in haunted objects. I'm a pediatric nurse. My entire life is built on cold, hard facts, vital signs, dosages, and logic. To me, things are just things. They don't have memories. At least, that's what I told myself when I was 7 years old and my grandmother pressed that doll into my hands. I can still feel the weight of it. It was too heavy for its size, like the core was packed with something much denser than cotton. The porcelain face was a pale, deathly smooth white, with a smile that didn't quite reach the eyes. And those eyes, they were blue glass. No matter where I stood in my bedroom, they were always fixed right on me. "This was mine when I was a little girl," Grandma whispered. Her grip was surprisingly strong for a woman in her 70s. "And her mother's before that. Now she's yours. You keep her safe, Lena. And when you have a daughter, you pass her on. You promise me." I promised. You do that when you're 7. You don't realize that some promises carry a weight you can't measure until it's far too late. The return. Fast forward 27 years. I'm 34 now. I live in a quiet house in Harlow, Ohio, with my husband Daniel and our 7-year-old daughter, Chloe. The doll had been a forgotten memory, locked in a chest in the attic for over a decade. But then, my grandmother passed away. She was 92, and at the end, she wasn't herself. She'd stare at the walls and hiss about the promise. When the will was read, there was a handwritten note. "The doll goes to Chloe. You promised." Daniel, being the steady history teacher he is, just shrugged. "It's a family heirloom, Lena. Chloe might like it." Every instinct I had was screaming no. But how do you explain that to a rational husband? I'm a nurse. I don't believe in ghosts. So, I went into the attic. The hinges of the chest groaned as I opened them. There she was, wrapped in the same faded flannel from 30 years ago. Her blue dress looked vibrant, and those glass eyes, they looked wet, almost alive. I felt a chill run down my spine, but I sucked it up and brought her downstairs. Chloe named her Eloise. At first it seemed fine, but then the atmosphere in the house started to shift. It was subtle at first, the way you feel a storm coming before the first drop of rain. In the second week, I started hearing Chloe talking in her room. It wasn't the usual tea party chatter. It was a rhythmic back and forth conversation. I stood outside her door one night, heart hammering. "No, I don't like purple. It's too loud," Chloe whispered. Then a silence. "Yeah, I guess you're right." When I walked in, Chloe was sitting on the bed. The doll was on the shelf, facing her. "Who are you talking to, honey?" "Eloise," she said simply. "She's lonely, Mommy. She says she's been lonely for a very long time." Then came the nightmares. Chloe would wake up screaming, a thin, high-pitched sound that made my blood turn to ice. She'd talk about a blue dress and someone waiting. The scratches. The breaking point wasn't the talking, it was the marks. I was helping Chloe change for her bath when I saw them. 3 thin, red, parallel lines on her forearm. They looked like cat scratches. We don't have a cat. I took her to the doctor, who suggested it might be stress-related. Self-inflicted. I wanted to believe her. I really did. But that night, I went into Chloe's room and touched the doll's hands. They were porcelain, smooth, rounded. There was no way those tiny painted fingernails could break skin. I hid the doll. I wrapped it in a towel, put it in a cardboard box, taped it shut, and shoved it behind a suitcase on the highest shelf of the hall closet. 3 days of peace followed. Then, on the 4th day, I opened Chloe's bedroom door to do laundry. Eloise was sitting on the shelf, facing the bed. I ran to the closet. The box was still taped shut. The towel was still folded. But when I opened that box, it was empty. The truth. I called my father. I needed answers. He finally told me the story Grandma never did. Back in 1923, his Aunt Eloise vanished, just disappeared into the woods. Her mother, Beatrice, lost her mind. She commissioned a doll to look exactly like the missing girl. Same hair, same dress, those same blue eyes. Beatrice started claiming her daughter was inside the doll. When Beatrice eventually drowned herself in a creek, the doll stayed in the family. The only way to keep her quiet, my father told me, his voice trembling, is to keep the chain going. You pass it down, or she comes for you. The breaking. That night, I found my hands acting on their own. I tried to throw the doll in the trash, but my arms froze. I heard a whisper, dry, like dead leaves on stone. You promised, Lena. If you break the promise, I take what is mine. I was a prisoner in my own body until I saw her. I woke up at 2 a.m. standing in Chloe's doorway. The doll was on Chloe's pillow, its porcelain hand resting on my daughter's cheek. In that moment, the mother in me fought harder than the curse. I lunged. I grabbed that heavy, warm porcelain body and I slammed it against the wooden dresser. Crack. The sound was deafening. A scream ripped through the house, not from Chloe, but from the walls themselves. It was a sound of pure, unadulterated rage. The nightlight flickered out. The room went freezing cold. But when the light came back, the doll was in pieces. Shattered. The aftermath. We threw the pieces in the city dump. For 3 months, life went back to normal. No more scratches. No more whispers. But lately, things have changed. Last week I found a tiny shard of blue porcelain under Chloe's bed. It was warm to the touch. And then there's the dent in the pillow. Every morning, right next to where Chloe sleeps, there's a small indentation, the size of a doll's head. I realized too late that the doll wasn't the ghost. It was just the cage. By breaking the doll, I didn't end the curse. I think I just let her out. I'm writing this because I'm starting to see a flicker of blue in the corner of my eye. And this morning, I woke up with 3 fresh scratches on my own palm. If you have something old in your house, something that's been passed down, something that feels a little too heavy, don't try to break it. And for the love of God, don't ever let your daughter near a doll with blue glass eyes. She's still here, and she's still hungry.